My career, I feel like I've gone several different ways, and here I am doing something that I love.
All that could happen is the same thing of them saying no. I'm like, I have nothing to lose. I'm just going to go ahead and ask and see where it takes me.
I was supposed to be a doctor.
Oh, wait, no, I did know this because I've had a couple of workplace accidents in here.
Everyone's a lobo.
Woof,
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 woof.
woof.
Hello and welcome to Good Job New Mexico. I'm Stacy Johnston.
And I'm Karla Meléndez.
We're your hosts for this new podcast that we're starting from the New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions. I'm kind of freaking out a little bit because we've been talking about this for not getting a really long time.
It's finally happening. We're here.
And this podcast is really centered around individuals' work life, wherever they might be. It might be somebody just starting out. It might be like a career changer. It might be somebody that thought they were going to go on a certain path, but then they completely changed and went somewhere totally different. And what made them make that choice?
Right. Yeah. Which I feel like is probably 90% of us. We change our mind every 5 minutes. At least I do. I don't know about you, but
I didn't so much.
See, it's great. We've got all perspectives.
Yeah, which I think is what's so fascinating because there's no set path that you're supposed to take. There's not a blueprint of you do X, Y, Z, and people can go in so many different avenues, but it's fascinating for me, someone who wasn't a big changer in employment, just how people made those choices, or was there a specific person that said something once that made you totally change?
Yeah, definitely. Different paths, and we all get to where we want to be, hopefully.
I always think that, you're meant to be where you're kind of at, or things happen because things are going to happen for you. And I had that happen in my career where I was like, this is totally not where I think I'm going to be. But then something else happened down the line that got me there.
What is that thing that happened that made you want to stick with it?
Yeah, good question.
Something.
Something happened.
Yeah, well, something must have inspired you to be like, this is where I belong.
Well, it's so funny because when I was in college, they ask you when you're a kid, what do you want to be? And blah, blah, blah. But when I was in college, I was like, I still don't know what I want to be. I just started out. I knew I was going to go to business school. So I would just say, I'm going to be a businesswoman. I didn't know what that meant. I had no desire for what it was going to be.
And now you're here and you're a businesswoman of sorts.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, same for me, right? I changed my college major, well, maybe just once, but I changed it pretty drastically. And, even in my career, I feel like I've gone several different ways. And here I am doing something that I love and that, has been my passion now for the last few years. So we all have different journeys.
So let's just dive into that a little bit. We want to introduce you all to who we are. So before we even kick off into inviting guests in here, people that are going to be top leaders of their company to somebody that's just, I'm in high school still and I'm not sure, but I want to explore my options.
Yeah, in all different industries. We'll have, people in the hospitality industry. We'll have people, in, I can't even think of more. I don't know why hospitality. Maybe that's because it was my first job.
Hold on. Let's learn more about you, Karla. So tell me about where you grew up and what your parents do. And did that have any influence on what you decided to do?
So I grew up in Chihuahua, Mexico, this tiny little town of 95 people. And when we left, it was a total of 90 after we left, right? So I'm pretty sure there's still 90 people there. And it's probably the same 90 people. But yeah, no, we came here when I was in 4th grade and decided to kind of make a life here. We moved to Moriarty, New Mexico, which those of you listening who might not know where Moriarty is, it's about 40 miles east of Albuquerque. This small town also, but coming from 90 people to, 10,000 people or whatever the population of Moriarty is, pretty huge, right?
Yeah.
I moved to Albuquerque for college. My dad, he runs a butcher shop in Moriarty where he processes cows and pork and all those things. And he's done that his entire life, at least since he moved to the United States. My mom runs a nonprofit in Moriarty that is to encourage people to have basic kind of literacy skills.
I think that's amazing that both of your parents were they sound like really motivated people that just kind of made their path the way that they wanted to make it. And then they're also making a big impact in their community, which is huge.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, my mom really encouraged us or at least she modeled being a servant to people and giving that kind of services to people, right? They were definitely a huge influence to where I went in my career. I went to school initially for pre-med. And
What? I did not know this about you.
I was supposed to be a
Oh, wait,
doctor.
no, I did know this because I've had a couple of workplace accidents in here. I was like, Karla, get the first aid kit.
I am the first aid kid. I will,
Yeah.
but I think that's more because of my love for Grey's Anatomy than it was for
Oh, for
my
sure.
pre-med. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love that?
But yeah, I changed my major like my sophomore year of college and went completely different and decided to do linguistics. I learned Portuguese in college and I graduated and had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I was working as a server at the time and I started kind of looking at different things that I could do with my degree, and I found this where I am now in the Department of Workforce Solutions. Yeah, that was kind of the journey of how I got here. And then I left and came back, but we don't talk about that.
Everybody comes back.
Yes, which is very true. But what about you, Stacy? What was your first job?
My first job was here at the Department of Workforce Solutions, which was Department of Labor way back when, and I was an intern. But I mean, this wasn't my dream.
What was your dream?
My dream was to work at Blockbuster Video like any other normal child of the 90s.
Wait, what's Blockbuster? Hold on. What's Blockbuster Video?
What? Everybody knows. If you don't know, Google it. It's so amazing. I miss it. But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work at Blockbuster because I love movies. I literally thought I was going to be an actress way back when. I went to acting school
Ooh,
for a little while.
I can see that. I
Yeah.
can definitely see that.
This is what I remember from acting school is it was at like 1:00 in the afternoon. So I would eat 2 hot dogs
Oh,
before I go because I was 12. And then I was
like just did you at least put like mustard and ketchup on it?
oh,
or
for
like,
sure. I put like the mustard relish, like the worst thing to go to acting school then. Did my brother that took me or my parents say, hey, maybe you should like brush your teeth before you go to acting school and you're doing all kinds of no. But yeah, I literally thought I was going to be an actress and then work at Blockbuster Video, and that didn't pan out. And then my dad actually worked at the department. He was in the unemployment insurance tax unit, and he was like, oh, they're going to do this summer internship thing. You should just apply. I'm like, okay. It literally was just like online. I really feel like it was as simple as saying, hi, this is my name, and I would like to work there. And then like a week later, like, you've been selected. You'll be starting on this date. And that's all I had to do. And I just showed up completely not knowing what I was doing in economic research and analysis. It was great. I just kind of went along with it and just whatever they asked me for, I was doing it. And then the next summer they asked me to come back.
That's awesome. So how old were you when you got your first?
16.
16. Wow. So it's only been a couple of years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still a person that works here today that was there when I first started
That's awesome.
that was a pretty big influence back then and still is today. But I mean, I don't think I would have been here if it hadn't been for like specific mentors along the way that were just looking out for me. I would think
Right.
like, okay, I did the tasks that they asked me to and got them done in time. And they're probably like, well, that was great. Let's just have her back. Like, why ask for somebody different? And then going into my senior year of high school, they're like, you can work part-time if you want. And so I did. So as soon as I got out of school, I just came here and worked till 5. And then college happened and I just kept on going. But at the time, it was really nice because they let me be totally flexible in my schedule.
That's awesome.
So I just was able to like school and work, and it was so close to campus because we're downtown Albuquerque. I went to University of New Mexico, and
Everyone's a Lobo.
woof,
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 woof.
woof.
And so, I ended up getting my economics minor because I was in economic research and analysis. I'm like, sure, I'll just do that. And then my degree was in communications and marketing.
And Stacy's now the communications director.
Oh, I guess we should say what we do. I guess we should say. And Karla?
Work-based learning manager, working with young people to hopefully, guide them into making career choices that are going to be, good for them.
So what is it about working with youth that makes you feel so passionate and want to keep going?
Yeah, I think, I mentioned I had mentors kind of coming up in my career, and I want to kind of help young people in that same way that I was helped, right? And of course, I mean, we all know that the youth are our future, right? And they're going to be running this country, they're going to be running this department, and they're going to be running everything, in the future. And so if I can help in exposing them to as many careers as possible to make them or help them make informed decisions, that's what I want to do. And they keep me young, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So
Yes,
being
you are.
around the young ones, it, keeps me up to date on the latest TikTok trends and all those things. And every time we've had interns here in the department, I feel like I get more out of what they get, because they bring such a fresh perspective. They bring all these ideas. And yeah, if I can have just a little bit of a hand in helping them figure out what they want to do, and whether that's college, whether that's going into a trade, whether that's going into the workforce, I want to help them kind of figure it out.
I think what I love so much is when I see you interacting with youth, especially way back when you're with me on the communication side, is just telling them to keep on going. The kids that are bilingual, and just like it's so pivotal for them to keep that skill going because it can take them so far. Especially now, I feel like it's more critical than ever to be able to have that ability, because employers, us included, like we're always looking for individuals that can do that.
Absolutely. I remember right when I first started in the department, I was one of few people who did speak Spanish. And so, yeah, I would encourage young people, and I still do, right, to keep their language, their culture, and all of those things are what make workplaces, great.
So hearing like your career path, was there like a moment that you would think that would have been like you got a piece of advice, or somebody said something, or an event happened that really changed your mind in like the direction that you ended up going?
You know, I think it was a kind of culmination of a lot of things, right? And I'm just going to keep going back to my mentors who exposed me to a lot of things, right? And there were some things that I honestly wasn't terribly confident that I could do, but they believed that I could do it. For example, I was sent to different parts of the country to present on initiatives that we had going on here in the department. I wasn't terribly confident that I could do those things, but they sent me for a reason. And so it was the things that they pushed me to do that I perhaps didn't know that I could do myself that really encouraged me to kind of keep going and be where I am, and again, maybe be a mentor for someone the way that they were for me.
You're a mentor for me because you're so confident all the time. Like I
Oh,
really take inspiration from your confidence. So,
oh, thank you, Stacy. That means a lot. I mean, I feel the same way. Hopefully I
aw,
tell you all the time.
aw.
Mushy moment.
Mushy. I think what I found in my career is just like patience, of like things aren't going to happen immediately,
True.
and it's okay. Like you just got to trust in the process, kind of that things are going to work out, but at the same time you kind of have to make it happen for yourself.
Mhm.
Because there's been times where I'm like, I don't see myself here, and I would go to like upper management and say like, here's my whole plan, this is what I really want for myself, and these are the things I think I need to get me there. And it was kind of like, okay, but there was no help, there was no
Right,
assistance.
right.
And then it was just nicely pushing my way into certain meetings or getting with different groups of like, it'd be really great if I could be included in that. Would that be okay? And then it's like, sure. And then after a while, you just get like more ingrained of where you want it to be. And then before I knew it, it was like, oh, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
And I just kind of had to make it happen instead of waiting for someone to give it to me.
Yeah. Do you feel like, you've always like known to do that for yourself, or do you feel like
No,
no? How did you learn to do that?
I think I was just like, let's give it a try. Right? I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really bizarre. And I think I learned it from other people that might have been doing the same thing, but I didn't realize it at the moment. And it's like, well, maybe they just did it on their own and I'm just going to try. Because
Right.
all that could happen is the same thing of them saying no or like nothing happening. So I'm like, I have nothing to lose. I'm just
True.
going to go ahead and ask and see where it takes me.
Yeah, exactly. Worst they can say is no,
Exactly.
which I'm sure they did many times.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did.
But yeah,
Yeah.
then you learn, move on, and maybe make adjustments and
Mhm.
present other plans.
Sure. And I think that happens to be like I've been frustrated at work, sure. But I try not to show it all the time. I think in my older age, I'm showing it maybe more than I should. But,
Older
uh,
age. Come on
but
now.
yeah, I think I remember going in for like, I've got this great idea. And I'd go in and I'd sit down and pitch my idea. And it was an immediate, like, I wasn't even done talking. And I'd be like, no. And I'd say, okay. And I just like stood up and walked out and didn't have anything else to say. That person ended up coming back and been like, I did hear you, but we just can't do that and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay.
So what advice would you give someone who, right, they present their best idea and it maybe gets shot down? What advice do you have for someone that, is passionate about something and maybe gets, a big
Yeah.
fat no?
I think sometimes when you're really passionate about it and it's like, this is the only thing stuck in my head, I don't think we can go in any other direction, is maybe taking a beat to ask, okay, I hear you saying no, but can you explain to me more why? And maybe once I understand what you're trying to tell me, I'll realize, like, okay, yes, I see what you're saying. And maybe we'll just save this idea for another time, or maybe we can morph it into something else different, or can we collaborate on a different avenue? I don't think no means 100% no all the time. I think it's just like there's reasons behind it. And maybe I'm not privy to why, and that's
Hmm.
okay.
Right.
But just maybe having more of an understanding of like, tell me more if I needed to know more. Most of the time, I just like, okay. And I just like got up and walked out. But I think I did ask a few times, like, can you tell me more?
Yeah.
And now I understand. Or like, okay, so that didn't work for that. But how about if we kind of change it this way, but we use it in this other direction? And sometimes it's more accepted. So as somebody that's been outside government and inside government, was it a hard pivot when you came to work in government, like just how we functioned?
So because I started working for government right out of college.
Yeah.
So I did leave and then come back. So I mean, there's different frustrations in both, right? I think what it did give me was perspective about why the red tape exists, I guess,
Okay.
if that makes sense, right?
Sure.
Because, like, sure, it's frustrating, but we do have to make sure that what projects we're doing or things that we're doing for the public, that they're effective, right? And so we have to make sure that we evaluate those projects and making sure that they are actually effective. It is what the public needs. It is, what they're telling us they need. And so I think that creates red tape in and of itself. We have to have measurable kind of results. And it's always kind of falls back to being able to serve the public better.
Exactly. And that's what's kept me here for so long. Is just
Yeah.
passionate about what we do and the people that we serve. So
Something that I think is super cool about your department, the communications department, is that you guys get to touch every single unit within the Department of Workforce Solutions, right? And you get to help in every single unit of the department. So I think that's really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
fun times.
Is that what has kept you in your unit in communications?
Yes. This is the weirdest path ever, I think.
Tell me
And
about
I
it.
don't know if anybody else has had any kind of similar path, but here we are. This random person was like, "Hey, we are going to start a little communications unit or whatever." And my boss at the time was like, "Oh, I have an administrative assistant," which I was, that's graduating with her marketing degree. Could she come and follow along? They're like, yeah, sure. And then after a while, it was just like, do you want to come over full time? Sure. And then I just came over full time. So it was just myself and the public information officer for a long time.
Oh, wow.
And then it just kind of like
Cool.
morphed into like an extra group. And then we had you. And then we got Susanna, shout out Susanna. And then it just became like its own little unit, which it was amazing.
That's really awesome. So, I mean, you basically founded this communications team.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, you
I
and
think I was a
others,
part
but
of
you
it.
were
Yeah.
part of the foundation. Do you want to shout out any of those people who took you under their wing?
Yes, I want to shout. Some really big influencers for me was going to be all of our public information officers that we've had in the past. But the biggest one that really made things happen was Jackie Engel, who was our former chief of staff here. So if it wasn't for her, and honestly, Art Martinez, he was my supervisor at the moment that suggested for me to go over and start working alongside Jackie and our public information officer at the time. Like, I don't think it would have happened for me to still be here if I hadn't been introduced to certain people.
That's awesome. Well, shout out Jackie and Art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my very first supervisor ever, Pauline Chavez.
Yay, Pauline.
She was amazing.
That's awesome.
Do you remember your very first manager ever?
So I think that's kind of, I don't know, because I was working for my dad at his butcher
Oh,
shop.
so dad, shout out dad.
Sure, yeah, shout out dad. He really exposed me to a lot of parts of the animal, if you will.
Interesting. Okay.
Then Dairy Queen was my first quote unquote official job. It was great, but I don't remember my manager there.
That's okay.
Yeah, but my most meaningful manager, right, who had a lot of influence in my career was probably Joy Forehand and Selena Bussey. They both really took me under their wings and showed me, just like you, right, where they put you into meetings to know what was going on. That was the same exposure that I had, which was amazing. Yeah. And then, of course, Stacy Johnston.
No, stop.
Yes.
No. Okay, we're going to do some like rapid fire questions for each other
Let's do it.
to wrap this up. So, rapid fire questions are going to start with, do you take your lunch or do you like to go out for lunch?
I do both.
Mm-hmm.
I bring my lunch sometimes, put it in the fridge, like our break room, and then I'll eat it at my desk, which sounds sad, but I also I watch YouTube videos, so
Sure.
it's fun.
It's like a mental break in the day. I think if I didn't leave the building for lunch, I would never leave ever. Well,
That's
I
fair.
leave quite frequently for
That's
lunch.
good.
I wish I didn't
Why?
because I'd save more money. But, I'm just stimulating the economy, so giving back to New
Exactly.
Mexico. So
Thanks,
there we are.
Stacy.
Sure, the little things.
All right, Stacy, this is the big one for New
No,
Mexico. I know.
think I know what you're going to ask me.
Green or red?
Okay, this is horrible. Yes, I was born and raised here, but
Are we going to pull your New Mexico card?
Yes.
Yes.
So I usually say none.
Oh, no.
It's not cool. I feel bad about it.
No judgment, Stacy.
I don't even want to ask for it on the side because I know I'm not going to eat it. So I don't want to ask for it and then it gets wasted. So I just say none.
Hashtag neither.
Hashtag neither. Oh, sad.
There you go.
And you?
It depends on the restaurant, the food. I am Mexican, so I tend to lean more red. But again, right, New Mexico's home, so gotta get that green in. So Christmas.
Okay.
Christmas
there
is
you
my
go.
answer, yeah.
Which is the correct answer for New Mexico. Congratulations.
Christmas.
You've won this podcast.
Yes. All right, what's my price?
We get to do this again.
Yes,
Yay.
I love that price. I like it.
So we're going to do this a couple more times with rapid questions at the end. If you guys have suggestions for us, let us know. You can always send an email to us at goodjobnm@dws.nm.gov. We love dots. So don't forget the
And
dot.
we love acronyms.
Yeah,
so
we
that's
do.
great.
We'll try our best not to use acronyms while we're on here, but we can't wait to hear from different guests that come on here. But if there's a specific occupation that you would love to hear about, let us know that too, because we want to get those individuals in here and speak to them about what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. We want as many diverse industries as possible. We want people in all phases of their career journey. I think it's going to be fun.
All right, so we hope you turn in next time, and we will talk to you then. Bye.
Bye.
This has been a New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions production.
Our producer is Mila Koleski.
This episode was engineered and mixed by John Sloan.
Theme music is One Fine Day, courtesy of Podcast.co.
Follow the show on social media at GoodJobNM.
For program funding, visit dws.state.nm.us/funding.
Bye.
Goodbye.